Hey, what's up, YouTube? Thank you for tuning back into our channel. My name is Tony, and today we got some interesting content for the viewers today. Today's topic is about a scary game from an awesome, horrifying, and popular trending franchise called Resident Evil. Today's gaming subject is Resident Evil Outbreak File 2. The story of Resident Evil Outbreak File number 2 is told through a series of 5 scenarios, though the exact order of the scenarios is left ambiguous. The first scenario listed is Wild Things, in which Cindy Lennox leads the rest of the survivors to the Raccoon City Zoo in hopes of reaching a rescue helicopter on the other side of the zoo. Throughout the scenario, players are pursued by an array of animals infected by the virus, the most dangerous being the zombie elephant Oscar, who follows the players from area to area until he is either locked in the elephant stage or killed by the players. Should they reach the front plaza without killing him or locking him away, he will appear as the boss. Otherwise, the zombie lion Max will be the boss. Once the players reach the end of the stage and board the tram stops, and the rescue helicopter is shown on fire in the distance, with the pilot dying of his injuries outside of the burning helicopter. The second scenario, Underbelly, follows the player's journey into a subway station and attempt to escape the city using a subway train. Before they can leave, however, another moving train runs into a pile of debris and explodes, awakening the Gigabyte, an enormous flea, who the players later fight at the end of the stage. To initiate this fight, one of the players is kidnapped by the Gigabyte while waiting for their train to depart. After defeating the boss, if the players do not make it back to the train in time, they must find an alternate way out through the substation tower, which is through the ventilation shaft. In the third scenario, Flashback, Alyssa Ashcroft leads the survivors to a cabin in the woods where they are met by Albert Lester, also known as Al, who promises to lead them to a neighboring town. He mysteriously disappears once the players reach a bridge leading to an abandoned hospital. There are 2 different paths, depending on what the player does. After 15 minutes, the bridge will break down, preventing passage. Turning back to the cabin, the player meets an injured woman named Regan, who explains that her daughter Lucy is lost somewhere in the woods. Regan gives Lucy's pendant to the player, which she says will make Lucy more willing to trust you. When you revisit the woods, the enemy's placement changes. If the player saves Lucy, who can be found on the shore, she will give you a reward. Subsequently, Regan tells the player there is another suspension bridge that leads outside the woods. When the player enters the hospital, a masked axe-wielding man chases them throughout the scenario. Players must kill sections of a giant plant that has overtaken the hospital building by injecting them with a serum-filled syringe. The final boss is the core of the plant, which is later found to be controlled by an infected Dorothy, Al's wife, who was experimented on in the hospital. Al is shown in the ending to have been leading people to the hospital to kill them in order to feed his wife in her plant form. If the player plays through the level as Alyssa, they will experience several flashbacks at different points in the scenario, as Alyssa and a friend who died at the hands of a zombified Dorothy once investigated the hospital's ethics years ago. The player could also get different endings depending on how many files they collected in the hospital. In the fourth scenario, Desperate Times finds the players in the Raccoon City Police Department defending themselves from zombies that have crowded outside of the station. By finding several plates, the players open a secret passage for one of the cops, Rita, to navigate and find help. Before she can return, the zombies break through the gates of the police department, and the players must defeat a certain number, depending on which difficulty they chose, of them before completing the scenario. The players are forced to leave policeman Marvin behind as they drive away, while he locks himself in the room, where he was later found by the player character of Resident Evil 2. In the final scenario, End of the Road, David King leads the survivors to an Umbrella laboratory, where they are met by 2 scientists, Linda and Carter, who have returned to get the cure. Before they can leave, an alarm sounds, and a shutter closes the exit, which the scientists are unable to open. The lab is infested with hunters, which Carter fends off by awakening the tyrant to fight for him. As the group is about to exit, however, the tyrant turns on the players, killing Carter and throwing Linda from a ledge. The tyrant then follows the players for the rest of the scenario. The players enter the sewers below the lab, where they find Linda alive. Depending on whether or not the player killed the tyrant, they are either washed away in the sewers with Linda or left behind to reach the upper levels themselves. Regardless, the players encounter a mutated tyrant on the city streets. Players are given a chance to rescue Linda, who is shot by a sniper, who also shoots at the players, and must be carried by the player to the end of the stage. They can choose to escape by truck but must fight Nix, the final boss, before doing so, or by helicopter, without fighting a final boss. There are 4 different endings. Up and Away with Linda is obtained by escaping the city by helicopter with Linda. Up and Away is obtained by escaping the city by helicopter, but letting Linda die on the way or not finding her. Run Like the Linda is obtained by escaping the city by truck with Linda. Run Like the Wind is obtained by escaping the city by truck, but letting Linda die on the way or not finding her. Obtaining the first or the third ending grants the player the good ending and epilogue for the character chosen, and obtaining the second or the fourth ending will grant the player the bad ending. In short summary, the beginning of Outbreak is set a couple days after the initial outbreak of the T-virus in Raccoon City, moments before the crisis further escalates into complete chaos. The game starts with the 8 characters in Jay's bar, who are unaware of what is happening until a lone zombie wanders into the bar and attacks one of the employees named Will. Soon after, the characters must escape the bar and make it through the city to safety. The game ends in the final moments of the same incident, with the player attempting to escape Raccoon City before the US government launches a missile strike to eliminate the threat posed by the G-virus. The player controls one of 8 characters with gameplay events transpiring across various regions of Raccoon City and span over a period of several days.
Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed the video and please be sure to stay tuned for more gaming content on the way.